The Utah Jazz are one of the youngest teams, I should say, in the NBA, and they have a lot of young talent and a lot of picks coming up over the next few years. So we're going to talk today about how they need to make the most of this offseason, because it is a big one for them. With Lauri Markkanen having a breakout year, he's a guy that you can legitimately consider a franchise star. You also have Colin Sexton and then Walker Kessler, who had a very, very good rookie year. Danny Ainge has been a great executive in multiple places, so make sure you hit the like button and leave me a comment in today's video. Also hit the subscribe button if you do enjoy today's video at any point. And with that being said, let's go and get started looking at the off-season guide for this Jazz team. Looking at what they have this offseason, they have a decent amount of cap space. I mean, nothing spectacular. They have the 9th overall pick, as well as the number 16 pick, and the number 28 pick. Obviously, I was joking when I said they have nothing spectacular in terms of cap space. They got $41 million, so that's a max slot that they could look into getting. A guy that could really, really help them win a lot more games next season, and then, of course, no key free agents to retain. That is a good thing. Now, let's first start with the draft, because that comes first in the offseason. At number 9, these are a few candidates I could see them picking. Taylor Hendricks, Azar Thompson, and Cam Whitmore. Now, Azar is probably the most likely pick here. If the Jazz can get Azar at 9, I think that's a huge W for them. Maybe a Jarace Walker type would be cool too, but Azar, super athletic, elite defender, walks into the NBA as one of the best defenders and one of the most athletic guys in the league, no questions asked. And then you also got Cam Whitmore, a guy from Villanova that he's super athletic as well. He's like an Azar Thompson clone, but with better scoring ability, much more polished offensive game. So that's the difference between those two. And Whitmore, he stayed in college here. Azar has been in that overtime elite league, a little bit sketchy. And then Taylor Hendricks here, the final option, although I expect him to be off the board long before the Jazz select at number 9. But if he is, that'd be a huge dub. I don't care if you already have Lauri Markkanen, you take Taylor Hendricks, no question, and try and plug him in there at the 3. Now, moving on to number 16, there are a few prospects that I think would really help them out here as well. Here's where you're looking at a couple of wings that can help you out. Bryce Sensabaugh out of Ohio State, a guy that big body, big frame, fit for the NBA, and he can score it too. He can score from all 3 levels. He can shoot the 3, he can knock down the mid-range, and he can get inside and finish, and he's very efficient, which is something that, kind of like Malachi Branham last year coming out of Ohio State. That's what Ohio State tends to produce, is efficient scorers. Now, Chris Murray out of the University of Iowa, I'm higher on him than most, but I think he's kind of a Keegan Murray clone, and for obvious reasons. I mean, they're twin brothers. Good defensive instincts, can score it, can knock down the 3 ball on the catch and shoot, and can even facilitate a little bit. Play makes very well for a guy his size, especially when driving and kicking. And then Jett Howard, the final guy here, out of Michigan. Watched some film on him yesterday. He can knock down the 3 ball at a very, very good clip, especially for the difficulty on some of the shots that he takes from downtown. However, that's kind of a double negative, because that is also one of the question marks I have with him, is his shot selection. And then at number 28, we have a couple of guys here in Ryan Rupert or Dylan Mitchell that they can take and, turn into a project wing. Ryan Rupert, from overseas, he's a guy with all kinds of potential. I mean, he's got all the tools in the world. If you've got time and you can put time and effort into trying and developing him, then that would be, probably a good investment for a team like the Jazz that have plenty of time on their timeline. If not, then, maybe you can go with like a Dylan Mitchell, who very athletic. Now, he hasn't committed to the draft yet, so I'm not sure. He could go back to school. We will see. This is obviously being recorded before the deadline. But if he does stay in the draft, he'd be a guy at 28 that I could see the Jazz looking into as a guy that they can try and develop long term. Now, finally, we'll be looking at some free agency options. A couple of guys that I think they could bring in. Hear me out on the Dylan Brooks thing here. They need some more wings. He's still a somewhat young wing. As long as he knows his role and doesn't think he can go out and trash talk the other team's best player and doesn't try and take insanely stupid shots, I mean, this is a guy that can really help you. 14 points a game. Now, it was only 39% from the field, 32% from 3, but he brings value as an elite on-ball defender on the wing. he's a guy that, as long as he knows his role, I feel like he could fit in nicely with this Jazz team and the culture that they're trying to build. And then Aaron Holiday coming over from the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, he didn't really play, but he would just provide them with good point guard depth. I don't really see them as having a backup point guard right now, and that is saying that Colin Sexton is your starting point guard. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but we will see. Now, looking at the future, look at all these picks they've got over the next few years. Of course, they've got 9, 16, and 28 right now. They've also done a very good job of stockpiling picks in the future. Now, their 2024 pick is in OKC, so that could be a huge mishap there, trading that. I believe they traded that traded that for Derek Favors, something like that, a while ago. But in 2025, they have Minnesota's pick, who could very well implode. They have their own pick, and then they have Cleveland's pick. In 2026, they have Minnesota or Cleveland's pick, and then their own. 2027, they have Cleveland, their own, and that Lakers pick, which is huge, and also the Timberwolves pick. So in 2027, they will have 4 picks. Yes, that is, a short 4 years down the road. And then in 2028, they have their own Cleveland, and then in 2029, they have Minnesota's and their own. So just a boatload of picks in the future for this Jazz squad. Now, the lineup going into next year, this is kind of what I'm projecting them to have. We got Sexton at the 1, who actually had a very much better season than he was having years like in Cleveland last year. Zora Thompson at the 2, and then Dillon Brooks at the 3. That's a good defensive wing duo. Between those two guys, I mean, who's stopping that, honestly, on defense? And then you got Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen in the front court. Lauri, again, will probably be the team leader in scoring. Not really another guy in this lineup that can, other than Sexton, that will go out and get their own bucket. But between Kessler, Azar, and Dillon Brooks, you form a elite defensive unit from day one. Again, my only question marks are the scoring ability, because Azar cannot score. Walker Kessler can just catch lobs. And then Dillon Brooks is Dillon Brooks. So the bench is where you're going to have a few more bucket getters at. Chris Murray and Jordan Clarkson, and then Kelly Olynyk as well, and hopefully Ochai Agbaji can develop. But like I said, Aaron Holiday is going to have to be there just for point guard depth, and then Clarkson, Ochai, Chris Murray, Kelly Olynyk, those will be your normal rotation pieces. I'm really hoping Ochai can have a big-time second year. I was high on him coming out of the draft. I thought he was going to have a much, much better rookie year than he did. I thought he was very NBA ready. I really liked his fit going to Cleveland, and then they traded him, which was unfortunate. But Jordan Clarkson's still doing his thing there in Utah, and they've got Chris Murray. So overall, a good lineup, or a good bench there. Now, the others, there are a couple of other players, maybe like a Ryan Rupert if you do draft him. Whoever you take at like 28, I believe it was. And then you also got to throw them in on. Maybe they'll go to the G League. And then Taylor Horton-Tucker, another guy as well that you can just throw into the rotation at times and, see if he can do something. Again, a young guy that maybe can do a little something. But yeah, with that being said, that's going to be it for this. I mean, let me know what you think about this Jazz team. With Markkanen, Kessler, I mean, I think that starting lineup would be very interesting. Very good defensively. I feel like that'd be a fun lineup to watch because of their defensive ability, and then they've got a couple of bucket getters, so I think that could be a competitive team. Maybe not, though. Maybe that team falls flat on their face. I don't know. Y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, but as for me, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like button and leave me a comment down below, as it really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.